Look at your house. You see four walls. You see a roof. You see a window. Now think about your neighbor's house. Your mind tells you they look the same. You see this picture every day. You see entire streets of identical houses. We call them cookie cutters. You think this is just lazy design. You think this is boring, but it is not true. Your house is more than just a place to live. It is a highly efficient machine, and almost every machine in the country is built from the same secret blueprint. This is not a coincidence. It is a very clever, but invisible, logic. We will uncover why your house looks exactly like this, why it has this specific height, why it has this specific room size. All of it is the result of brilliant, but very old, decisions. These decisions were made for speed and for saving money. They made housing affordable for millions of people, but they forever took away the unique look of our homes. Think about where all the magic of your home comes from. Where do the standard materials come from? Why are all the lumber pieces the same length? Why are all the pieces of drywall the same size? We will show you 4 invisible reasons. These reasons turned construction from a slow art into a fast, repeatable process. This is a story of how economics and the standard size of one simple material changed the entire country forever. This is why your home is not what you think it is. It is a triumph of logistics, hidden behind a boring exterior. Mechanism 1. The economic standard. The modular grid. You might feel your house is a unique project, but it is not. Your house is a set of giant building blocks. All these blocks have the same size. That size is 4 feet, or to be exact, 48 inches. This is the main, invisible law of construction. Why exactly 4 feet? The answer is simple: economics and logistics. Look at drywall. That is what covers all the walls. It is always sold in sheets 4 feet wide. Look at plywood. It is also sold in sheets 4 feet wide. Even insulation material. Everything at the building store is 4 feet wide. This is not an accident. This is called the modular grid. It is like adult Lego blocks. Why do we need this? First, it means zero waste. When a builder buys a sheet of drywall, they know it will perfectly cover the space between the beams. They do not need to cut the sheet many times. They just apply it and fasten it. Less cutting means less trash. Less trash means less money spent. Second, it means speed. Builders do not have to constantly measure. They just take standard boards and put them at a standard distance. This standard is called stud spacing. The studs, the vertical boards inside the wall, are usually spaced 16 inches apart. If you multiply 16 inches by 3, you get 48 inches. That is exactly 4 feet. This means one sheet of drywall perfectly covers 3 spaces between the studs. It lands exactly on the center of the next board. If the size of the sheet was different, builders would have to constantly measure and cut. That would be slow and very expensive. The modular grid makes sure that every house built in America can be put together quickly and cheaply. This is the reason your home is not unique. It perfectly fits the size of standard plywood and drywall. Your house is simply a very big box whose size is dictated by the cheapest and most common materials. This is the triumph of logistics over design. Mechanism 2. The nail revolution and lightweight framing. When you look at old European or American houses, they are often over 100 years old. These houses look very strong. Why? Because they were built slowly and expensively. Before the middle of the 19th century, building was an art. Builders did not use many nails. Nails were expensive. They were made by hand. They were a valuable item. So, houses were built using heavy timber. They joined the timber with complex, expensive locks. This was called mortise and tenon. The house held together by the wood being fitted perfectly. It was reliable, but it was terribly slow, and it cost a lot of money. Everything changed when cheap nails arrived. Machines were invented that could cut nails quickly from wire. Nails became cheap. They became available to everyone. Suddenly, builders no longer had to spend time on complex locks. They did not have to haul huge, heavy logs. A new technique replaced the old one. It is called light wood framing. Builders started using many small, identical boards. They started building walls from thin, but frequent, studs. All of it was held together by a massive amount of cheap nails. This was like building a skeleton from many thin bones, instead of a few thick ones. Why is this important? First, speed. One person could build a wall in one day. They did not need cranes. They did not need a large crew of specialized carpenters. This made building very fast. Second, repeatability. All the boards were the same. All the sizes were the same. You could build the exact same house over and over. Building became like assembling a machine in a factory. This nail revolution secured our modern repetitive standard forever. Because of this simple technology, your house became fast, cheap, and, as a result, similar to every other house on your street. Economic efficiency won over uniqueness. Mechanism 3. Law and safety. The zoning code. Your house must not just be cheap, it must be safe and legal. In America, the look and placement of your house is not decided only by the architect. It is decided by the law. The main rules here are zoning and building codes. Zoning is the set of rules your local government makes. They decide what can be built in your area and what cannot. The most important part of zoning is setbacks. Look at your land plot. It has boundaries. The rules say you cannot build right on those boundaries. You must leave space. You must use setbacks. You must leave a required distance from the street. You must leave a required distance from the backyard. You must leave space from neighbors on both sides. These required setbacks greatly limit the size of the house. They create an invisible rectangle on your property. A builder can only build inside this invisible rectangle. This means that if all the plots on the street are the same, then the size and shape of all the houses will also be the same. This is the single biggest reason why the whole street looks like one blueprint. The second part is safety codes. These rules do not allow the designer much freedom. They dictate things like fire safety. Walls between houses must be made of certain materials. This is to stop the fire from jumping to the next house. This forces the use of standard thickness and materials. Windows and doors. Windows must be big enough for you to escape in case of a fire. This limits the design and size of the windows. Ceiling height. There is a minimum standard for ceiling height. This ensures airflow and comfort, but it also limits how, creatively, you can design the interior. A building company always wants to build the biggest house that can fit in that invisible rectangle. This is called area maximization. This way, the house will cost more and it will be easier to sell. Since the setback limits are the same for everyone, the final size and form of the houses are also the same. Law and safety are the invisible architects of your neighborhood. Conclusion. Choice versus efficiency. The takeaway. So, we have seen that your house is not just boring design. It is a complex result of 4 invisible forces working together. These forces led to uniformity. Let's review these forces. The modular grid. Your house is built around a sheet of drywall that is 4 feet wide. This is the basis of economy. The nail revolution. Cheap nails replaced expensive, heavy timber. This made building fast, like assembling a car in a factory. Zoning laws. Mandatory setbacks from neighbors and the street created an invisible rectangle. You can only build inside it. The builder's goal. The builder always builds the biggest house that can fit in that rectangle to get maximum profit. All these forces work towards one goal: speed, safety, and affordability. Think about old European cities. Houses there are unique, but they took centuries to build. They were built expensively. They were not always safe. The American approach is different. It is based on mass production. It is based on reliability. Your house is similar to all the others because it is reliable, it is built quickly, and it is cheap. This standardization is America's great compromise. It made housing affordable for millions of families. You can get a mortgage because your house is a standard, tested product. Banks love standard products. This is a triumph of engineering. Of course, we want our house to be unique, to be a piece of art, but that would take too long, and it would be very expensive. The next time you see a row of identical houses, remember, you are not looking at laziness. You are looking at a victory of efficiency. You are looking at the hidden logic that made modern America what it is today.